Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel of Bethel Evangelical Free Church Hanley. I'm Pastor Charmley, and this is another video in the series on Derbyshire churches. Yes, Derbyshire has a lot of interesting medieval churches. It's also not very far from Stoke-on-Trent in parts, and so in these opening months of the year, and I'm shooting this in January of 2022, then it's a lot easier for me to get out and to get back while it's still light than it is for me to go further away. So lots of Derbyshire. This is the church of St. Peter, Somersal Herbert. Now, Somersal Herbert, the place name means the summer residence of the Fitzherbert family, and it's named because their summer residence, their summer hall, is next door to the church here. The church here dates back in parts to the Norman era, though most of what we see today is 14th and 15th century. There is a tower that we're in at the moment that dates from 1912, and we'll see a photograph of the building before and after. So here we are, St. Peter's, Somersal Herbert. Let's again follow the usual plan of these videos, having a look around church starting at the west end. As usual, we start at the west and we see immediately the font. This is the glory of the building, is this lovely Norman font with its interlaced blank arcading and its patterned carving. It's a marvellous, marvellous font. Now, the first known rector here was in 1428, and named Robert by the Brook, no doubt from his place of origin. In 1663, there's a John Thacker becomes the rector here, and that suggests that maybe in 1662 there's a Puritan who is ejected. As we progress, we have a good look at the font, because, as I say, it is the true glory of the building. There are other things that are interesting, but the font is the most interesting thing of all. You can see here this glorious interlaced arcading. It's a very typical Norman decoration, and it's very high status. We've seen tubs in previous villages that have just been plain, but this is a high status font. Here, there, it's open, so you can see the font, and actually some water in it, so you've got to be careful. If I drop the camera in, it's all over. And here we have, you've got your cupboards and things at the back, and here photographs of the church. This is before they put the tower on, and you can see it had a little bell cot at the west end, and that was all. And after, same angle pretty much, but now with a great big tower. The tower, of course, contains a clock and bells. So very simple, very plain. All the plaster's been stripped off. It's not a big building because it's not a big village. We have a nice chancel arch, looks 15th century, although it might be a Victorian replacement. This same solid, rather irregular Norman work that we've seen previously at Cubley and Marston, which are two very, very nearby, two very local villages. We have there the war memorial carved of wood. There's a lot of wood in this area. Nice 3-light window, and we've still got our Christmas arrangements up with holly, lots of holly here. Very handsome. The altar has been brought forward, so there's nothing actually much in the inside the altar rails. We have here a Fitzherbert memorial, and this is to John Fitzherbert of Somersal Herbert, knight, and his wife his wife Mary, so Maria, that is with Maria, who is the daughter of William Cook of Trusley, which is another nearby village, another notable big house there, and he died in 1601. That's a very posh memorial. That's John Fitzherbert of Somersal Herbert. And you can see here that there's not much in there, but here we have a tomb recess with the remains of, and this is obviously memorials of a priest. If you've seen the video from Norbury, from the inside of Norbury, you'll know that a chalice, which this chap has on his chest, is the symbol of a priest. Now this is quite a high Anglican church. You can see that's a Sanctus bell, and you've got icons and all that sort of thing. So this is a very high Anglican church here. Here we have, the Fitzherberts lived here for many, many centuries. So here is a memorial to Arthur Richard Fitzherbert, third son of the late Lieutenant Colonel Fitzherbert of Somersal Herbert, enlisting as a trooper in the Wellington Mounted Rifles. In 1915, he served with the New Zealand Expeditionary Force in Palestine against the Turks. He was wounded at the First Battle of Gaza on the 26th of March, 1917, and died of his wounds the next day, aged 63. He was buried at Deir el Belah. He feared not to die for his country and his friends. And so here we have a man at 63. He could have said, well, we'll leave fighting to the young, but instead he went out and did his bit. And we often think, in terms of the First World War, of it being a war of the young, which it was mostly, but it wasn't a matter that older men said, oh, we'll sit back. You know, he joined up as a trooper, an ordinary soldier. And given he's a Herbert of Somersal Herbert, he was somebody very important. So here we have it. This is the interior, and you can see again the West End. There's that 20th century wall, because the tower's been built on there. And originally it would just have ended where the tower arch is. That would just have been the West End. There would have been a window in there, and it looks like that window has been inserted then in the west of the tower. So we'll have a look outside and see some of the important features out there. Also, here we are outside at Somersal Herbert, and you can see behind me this impressive little building, and particularly notable is this porch. This is 17th century. It's made of brick with stone dressings, and in true 17th century style, it doesn't say, oh, let's try and imitate the existing building. It says, let's add to this building something that belongs to our century, that says this is 17th century. And I like it. I like it for doing that. Well, let's have a look around the outside and see the notable features of this building. You can see how small the nave is. It's just got that one window and then the porch. And it always would have had just the one window and a door there, although of course the door and doorway are now 17th century. The tower, there's the flag of St. George for England flying bravely from the flagstaff. The tower is very much early 20th century. It's very, very much this arts and crafts, moving even in the direction of what would become Art Deco. This arts and crafts Gothic, quite muscular and solid. It's not trying to imitate the Middle Ages anymore. No, that's not the time. The clock has stopped. So there we have the porch. We'll progress around the West End, around the tower, and you see here you've got the tonsils, these lovely old carved gravestones, the hills where sheep may safely graze. Some more modern area. There we have that is the hall, that is the Manor House. And once again, it's this relationship, church and Manor House next to each other. That was the summer residence, of course, became a branch residence, and there's the village hall up on the hill there. It's a tiny little village. The church is very much suited to the village, and you can see there's the west window. No, the window surround itself is part of the tower. It is 1912, but the glass in it is Victorian, which is what made me think that the window surround might be, but it's not. You've got this little bell turret, this little stair turret there, takes all the way to the roof. Obviously not open for visitors because, and there's the important modern addition of the portaloo, because, well, we're a bit more conscious about these things and we don't allow people just to do it under a hedge somewhere. Make of that what you will. You can see just see the lich gate down there, and here we have the north side. Unusually, the north side is a bit more impressive, but that of course is because it's the side that faces the road. This is the road, and the north side you've got your two windows, and what's that blue plaque down there? You can see it's a two-cell building, and that would have been the end. So I'll see what that blue plaque is, because I don't remember the blue plaque from before. It may just be a memorial. Jason Jackson, Francis Margaretta, novelist, born 13th of the 10th, 1754, died 17th of the 6th, 1842, is interred in the adjacent vault, and I suppose that this mound is over the vault, but not someone I know. Clearly somebody important, Francis Margaretta Jackson, because she's gets herself a blue plaque. And we progress again, this lovely weathered stonework, and it's quite posh on the outside. You can see that the inside's a bit rougher because it was supposed to be covered in plaster, but the outside, nice ashlar stonework, and there's that fairly modern lich gate hiding among the yew trees. And there it is with its flag of St. George flying from the tower. East window does look Victorian, which makes me think that the chancel arch is probably a Victorian rebuild as well. We do have here a Commonwealth War grave, and here is the medieval cross. We'll go on the other side because the sun's in the wrong place, so we'll go round and have a look at it from the other side when the sun is behind us. This is a medieval cross. Now the cross served two purposes. One was it was a communal memorial for everyone buried in the churchyard. The other is it was a place for preaching. A travelling friar might, for example, stand upon the steps and give a sermon to the people of the village. The travelling friars, there's a certain friction between them and the ordinary clergy, because the travelling friars took collections and the ordinary clergy sometimes felt the travelling friars were just out for the money, which some of them were, frankly, and they would go off with the money to do whatever, and it would leave the village rather than being in the village to help the people of the village. See there, that wonderful timber framework. It's obviously still a private house, the Manor House, but just looking from here you can also see there's a gate from the Manor House to the churchyard, because the lord of the manor needs to be able to go to the church on Sunday, and if he lives next door he gets his own private entrance. It's very, very common with these English country churches with a manor house next door that you'll have a gate from the manor house to the churchyard, so that the family at the manor house can, and of course with their servants and other people who worked there, they would and lived there, they would go to the church every Sunday and they would be seen there worshipping. Well, we'll say a few closing words and that'll be the end then of this video. And so there we have it, St. Peter's, Somersal Herbert. A little medieval church with Norman origins, standing beside a timber-framed manor house. A quintessential English scene, and a place of worship for the best part of millennium. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I know in these videos I tend to talk more about the history and the building than about, I'm thinking about the building rather than other things. That's because that's actually the easiest thing to find out about. Most of the clergy who were here, we know nothing about them. They were just ordinary parish clergy who served, and then they they died and then were buried, and the memory was simply, well, he was the vicar, he was the rector. But this remains a beautiful corner of England. And again, COVID threat receding, these churches are open and they welcome visitors. If you're in the area, this church with Norbury and Marston Montgomery and Cubley, they can all be visited within the space of a few hours, all close to each other and all with their own wonderful charms to see. So thank you again for watching, and may God bless you and keep you, and hopefully see you in the next one.